All right, welcome back. So in this problem here, all right, we have a factored form of x squared plus 2x minus 15. Now, if we have our little triangle man, all right, and our little triangle man looks like this. So we have a negative and a positive, and then we have a negative here. So when I cover this up, and I have a negative times a negative, that will give me a positive. When I have a negative times a negative times a positive, that will give me a negative, okay? So this is one way that you can remember in terms of multiplying. In terms of summing, we have to think about how our number line is working. So we want to think of the factors of negative 15. So, and the sum of those factors need to equal positive 2, okay? And so if it's a negative 15, that means that we're going to have a negative and a positive, because a negative times a positive will give us a negative value in terms of our multiplication. But if we want our sum of the factors to be positive, then the higher number needs to be positive. So the sum of 15, we have 1 and 15. We have 3 and 5. Let's see. So we have negative 3 and positive 5. And then we have 5 and negative 3. Negative 3 times a positive, negative 3 times both of these values here will give us negative 15. But negative 3, this should be negative 5. Negative 5 and positive 3. Negative 3 plus 5 will give us positive 2. Negative 5 plus 3 will give us negative 2. This here will give us 16, so on and so on. Since we want a positive 2, these are the factors, whoops, didn't mean to do that. These are the factors here that we want to use. So we're going to use positive, we're going to put that in place of our positive, and that's going to be 5, not 2. And then this is going to be negative 3. Now let's check. Again, we need to check, especially, this is the time when you want to make sure you check, okay? So put stars when you deal with your negative and positive, because that's going to be the number one mistakes that y'all make, okay? So we're going to check. So x times x gives us x squared. X times 5 gives us positive 5x. Negative 3 times x will give us negative 3x. Negative times a positive will give us a negative 15. So this is going to be x squared plus 2x minus 15. This checks to our original trinomial, so these are the two factors of our problem. So problem number 5, it says applying the rules of, or applying factoring trinomials, okay? We have an area of a rectangle, so area is equal to base times height, or we can say length times width. So we have a rectangle, all right? And we know that the area of this rectangle is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 35. And we want to know what the possible dimensions of the rectangles are using factoring, okay? So we're going to apply length times width, so we're going to factor the trinomial of the product of binomials that represent the length and width, okay? We're going to use the value of c, which is negative 35, and the sum of the factors are going to give us negative 2. All right, so we have 5 and 7, okay? And again, this is a negative. We want our value to be negative when we multiply it, so that means we're going to have a negative and a positive. So this could give us 7 minus 5 will give us a positive 2. 7 times negative 5 will give us, oops, I did that again. Should be negative 7 comma positive 5 will give us negative 2. So that's the one that we actually want to use. So again, just like before, so we're going to have x minus 7 times x plus 5. Okay? So this means that our width, in terms of talking about the rectangle, So that means that this could be x minus 7 and this could be x plus 5. Okay? Now we'll get into deeper when we start talking about finding the values of x. But I want you to take a second and look at that. This says x minus 5. In terms of talking about the length of a width, the x value cannot be less than negative 7. It's going to have to be higher. X is going to have to be greater than the value of any value that's going to give us it's got to be greater than 0, and it can't be 7, because 7 minus 7 will give us 0, and can't be 7. And if we use 1, and if we use the value of 1, okay, it really is going to have to be higher than 7. Can't be 7, so really we need to say it has to be greater than 7. Because if we use, let's say 5 minus 7, that will give us a negative value. That would give us, 5 minus 7 would give us negative 2, okay? And in terms of the psi length here, and the values of x can't be that psi length can't be negative, all right? I'll do problem number 6, and then I'll do some of the practice problems, all right? See you then.